All right, everyone. Welcome back to Lake City Variety episode 8, the 8th episode.
That's right. We've made it to doing the intro right at the start.
We did it.
Episode.
We went from doing it
We've made the
20
leap.
minutes in to an hour in to immediate.
That's right.
Right away. Which, if you're hearing this and you're on Spotify or Apple, it's actually 2 minutes in because our ad roll before is a minute 40.
That's right. Thank you for that penny.
Yeah,
we like it.
We do. We do like that penny. We like making our $17 a month that we split between 3 people.
Do you know what's really hitting me right now, though?
What?
So you went to the world's largest candy store?
I did. Well, not. I don't know if it's the world's largest, but it's definitely
at least Minnesota's largest.
At least
candy
Minnesota's
store.
largest candy
It's
store.
a Yellow Barn. It's on 169.
Yep. It was an apple orchard, and then there's like a big old windstorm or whatever, and the farmer was like, "What if I just sell candy?" And then he did, and it's the biggest business.
And it works.
It worked.
And everyone copies him, honestly.
Yeah, really, they really do. But there's all sorts of good stuff that you just can only find there.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I was going to comment on is I put a grape-flavored, I don't even quite know.
Those are
like fruit-shaped, like sugary
runts. They're
bits.
called runts.
They're called runts?
They're like,
I remember them
if
from
you
my
go to the
childhood.
mall or you go to any grocery store and they still have that 25 cents, 50 cents turn for stale candy, it's the fruit-shaped ones. There's even the yellow banana-looking things. Those are runts.
And the thing is, this tastes way better than I remember it tasting.
That's because most of the time when you get them from that
Are
stale.
they stale?
They're
oh,
stale.
Gosh.
And so now these, fresh. As of yesterday.
It's just popping.
Yeah, they're good.
Like joy in my mouth right now.
You know, I'm not a fan of banana-flavored things, but I've been sucking on those banana ones all day. They're really good.
Nice. That's good.
And then I stocked up on those Lego brick candies, where they're like sweet tarts, but they're Lego bricks.
I've never had them.
There's some in the kitchen table. You can grab some if you want later.
Okay.
But you
or
can
I'll grab them
just
now.
straight up build with them.
Nice.
It's great.
I remember way back in the early 2000s, probably just after my family moved to undisclosed town in undisclosed state. And
probably some Minnesota town.
yeah, it was a Minnesota town. And we went to Cashwise way back in the day. And then they, like built a Walmart, and Hy-Vee's way closer to our house anyways. So anyways, we started shopping other places, but we shopped at Cashwise for a long time. And they had the coolest thing, which is, as you're checking out, the grocery store people would give the kids, like me, and my sister, and then at some point, I think my brother Isaiah, they'd give us these little gold, like, Chuck E. Cheese, like, coins, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they weren't Chuck E. Cheese coins, but like the fake quarters,
Yeah.
And you could go to their little machines, and you could put the coins into them. And my favorite one was like a claw machine candy thing.
Oh, yeah, the candy claw, the candy shoveler, or whatever that is.
The candy shoveler. And my favorite thing to get out of them was the like strawberry cream, like little like sucker, like chewy candies.
Oh, are they the ones that like have the wrapper that looks like a strawberry?
Yep. And they had the like caramel partners too, the like
Mm-hmm.
the same like thing but caramel.
Yeah.
I loved those so
much. Those are good. Those are really good, actually. Yeah. Hopefully this is loud enough. From our testing, this is loud enough. But let's just give it a little bit of a boop. How's that? A little bit better?
Oh,
yeah.
don't know, but
Don't know. At least we're not redlining it, which is good.
that's true.
Yeah, because we don't want to blow out anyone's ears, but we also don't want to be too quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's true.
Yep. After our episode on jobs last week, by the way, R.I.P. Elliot, you will be missed, just not on this show.
That's right. He took another job, actually.
Yeah, he's not dead. He's dead to us.
That's right. So we're now auditioning for the role of Elliot.
Yeah, we're hosting auditions. Send in your voice clips. You can either send them in. You can DM us on Twitter or on Instagram.
That's right. We want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, or if you're really creative, you can find my LinkedIn page and find my contact information on there and send me a pile of emails.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So many emails.
Yep. Just so many emails. And LinkedIn is fine sometimes, but then there's just some days where you get 35 emails from LinkedIn, and you're like, why are people using this like social media?
Well,
I mean,
because
it is technically
everything
kind
is
of
social media.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how you market things. Everything's social media. Everything's clickbait. Everything's a really complicated ad. And I'm trying to think of what else everything is.
It's just weird.
Everything's a DLC.
Yeah, including the 10th release of Skyrim. Let's talk about that because we're a variety show.
It adds fishing.
That's it, which was already like a Creation Club thing that didn't cost money.
So I think we all need to go out
and shoot Todd Howard in the face.
And buy Skyrim.
Or after we buy Skyrim, we shoot Todd Howard in the face.
That's right.
Because he needs to release Elder Scrolls 6 within the next year and a half.
Because sometimes I scroll through the news feed that Google Chrome wants to show me.
Yeah.
And one of the articles was from, or no, was it that? No, my brother was like, I was talking to my brother the other day, and he was like, Levi, they're re-releasing Skyrim. And I'm like, what the heck? This is ridiculous. It's like Google,
again,
Skyrim re-release.
I had to Google it, too, because I thought it was a joke from a YouTube channel.
And it was Screen Rant being like, Skyrim re-release, adds fishing, not a good sign for Elder Scrolls 6. And I'm like, you're probably right.
You're probably right. At least they optimized it for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, whatever the one they're on now, Series Moonwalk, I don't know.
That's right. You can watch it probably in 4K or play it in 4K now.
Which, that's like what? If you put Oblivion in like 1080p.
Oh, gosh.
It looks terrible because it's Oblivion. And Oblivion's really fun, and Morrowind is really fun.
Oh, yeah.
They look like garbage because they have 3 triangles per face.
The faces?
Yeah, they're funny. They're so funny. They're so soft. They're baby smooth. Anyway, so imagine just upscaling Skyrim, which my first time playing Skyrim was on the regen or the revamp, the black Xbox 360, like the 4 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte model or whatever, the one that they said wouldn't red ring but still eventually did. You remember those?
Yep.
So my first experience was playing it on a friend's Xbox. And on a tiny TV, which is like fine, but it looked good for being kind of far, like across the room on a tiny TV.
Yeah.
And then it looks good when you're playing it on low settings on a crappy laptop when I bought it when I went to college. And it looks good then. You know what it doesn't look good on? This 4K screen being outputted at 4K, like ultra settings. Yep. You know what looks terrible?
What?
Everything except for the butterflies. Dude. Honestly, the butterflies are the only thing that look good in that game in 4K.
Dude. What I would say about that, though, is I think games look good in the age that they're made.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they look, unless it's like, like a really like retro design. Then it looks really...
Crash Bandicoot looks old, but it doesn't look as old as it could.
Okay.
Like for the PlayStation 1. Like Crash Bandicoot, you get it. It's kind of pixely, but it's all like low-res triangles. But he kind of is just a low-res triangle even on the box art. So
yeah, that's good design right there.
Yeah, so he already is kind of timeless. I mean, the only thing you notice is that it's not as pixely, and like the shading is a little bit better in the PlayStation 4 re-release.
Okay.
Which I didn't buy, but I did play.
I've not played it at all.
Yeah. Well,
no Bandicoot games for me.
I grew up with my dad's PlayStation.
Sweet.
I got to play it for maybe 3 weeks a year. It was like the treat for finishing school, and then you got it for 2 or 3 weeks in summer school or during the summer on summer vacation.
Yeah.
It was kind of the reward. So my dad had a Sega Genesis and a PlayStation 1 with like
Very
a bunch of like sports games and stuff on them, and it's like, not into those. Give me Crash Bandicoot 1 and Ace Combat 2. And let me just play only Ace Combat 2.
Yeah.
For a really long time.
My I had not a similar experience growing up. My dad, his family worked a lot in convention centers down in Las Vegas.
Okay, yeah.
And so they would get to, like, the deal is usually when you work there, it's cheaper to throw the crap away than to ship it back.
Exactly.
And so he would just get tons of new games and stuff.
Yeah,
basically,
it's
he'd
really
get
cool.
He got the newest Atari at the time, I think.
Which, by the way, the Atari back then was like $300.
Yeah.
You know what that is in today's money? It's like $980.
Are you kidding me?
No,
it's $300.
An Atari back then was $1,000 to us now.
That's straight nuts.
So that's paying PlayStation 5 scalper prices. Imagine scalping an Atari back then. For
Imagine
like
Atari scalping you, the company.
They take your scalp.
That's right.
Yeah.
So my dad grew up playing video games, and he will occasionally share stories of how he would just sometimes spend all night playing games.
Yeah.
That's all he would do.
Sometimes
he wouldn't
just
sleep.
do it.
He just he has what's that word? Like when you can't sleep, he's
insomnia.
He has some light insomnia, or maybe it's really intense insomnia. I'm not quite sure.
He either can't sleep at all or he can sleep sometimes.
He can sleep sometimes, and I think he's decently well now. But
does he just take a crap
and he has
ton of
his
melatonin?
He doesn't take melatonin, I don't think.
Does he have to take sleeping pills, like Ambien or anything?
That I don't think he takes anything for it.
Okay.
I think it had more to do with some of his past as opposed to maybe less about maybe some anxiety too. I'm not quite I don't quite know.
It's whatever. Okay.
I just know he struggles with sleeping sometimes.
Yeah.
And as a kid that came out as playing video games all night.
Yeah.
But so that's the background that I kind of got thrown into is you gotta just play video games. You do your chores, you do your homework. Mom would step in sometimes and say hey, let's not watch TV all day, and we wouldn't watch TV all day for 3 months, and then we'd slip back into playing video games for
every day
4
for 12
hours a day, 12 hours a day.
Kind of different for me, where it was my parents, my dad owned video games. In fact, my mom bought him the Sega when they were dating.
Nice.
It was
Very nice.
It was a present to him, which
That's
was
cute.
really cool. It was nice. But when my mom told me that she was the one that bought the Sega for my dad, I just didn't believe her.
Really?
Because of the amount she just said, nope, don't play video games ever.
Because it melts your brain.
No, not even that. She just didn't want us to play video games.
Sure.
So it's there's no way you bought the Sega. Dad must have bought it, and now you're trying to claim that. No, there's no way you bought it, because you wouldn't let Dad play video games. You don't even let us play video games.
Well, as it turns out.
And as it turns out, she bought it for him.
She got ganked.
Oh, well. It's so, we had video games. Like I said, if you finished school and you had decent enough grades, you got the PlayStation and the Sega set up for 2-3 weeks. And so you just play that every day for 5 hours until they're it goes back in the bin until next year. And you're I just want to play Ace Combat 2, please.
Please let me play it.
Which, by the way, that game today looks bad, but it's really fun. It doesn't look as bad as it could. And the soundtrack was made by the greatest guitar wizards in Japan of all time. And actually, I think today's bonus might just be me plugging in my phone, playing the Ace Combat 2 soundtrack, and us just jamming out to it.
I mean,
it's whatever.
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
It might be more than that. Patreon.com/Lake City Variety.
Should probably be more than that.
It'll be more than that. We'll get something good in there.
I want to look up Ace Combat 2 because I've never seen it before.
I have Ace Combat 7 for the PlayStation 4.
Oh, dude, it just came up right away. Arcade game.
Well, it was on the PlayStation.
It's a plane game? Wait a second.
Yeah, no, it's a fighter pilot game. For all of you who didn't know that Ace Combat 2 was fighter pilots and stuff, it's and so the new one has, you can use it with PlayStation VR, and then they make a control stick for it. So you can use the actual pilot's controls in a VR helmet, so you're inside the plane.
That's
and I
sweet.
want to spend $600 on that setup.
It might
just
be worth
so I
it.
could sit on this couch and play a plane game in a virtual cockpit.
It might be worth it.
No, we have to fix my wife's car.
That's true. One of my not super. Probably once a week growing up. I would just get to play video games with my dad, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Or every other week or something like that.
Yeah,
but
my dad never played with us.
One of my favorites was, that's really sad.
Well, he played sometimes, but he just always had other things to do.
Yeah.
And he was my parents were always super busy.
Yeah.
Which it's not like, oh, they're ignoring us, they're super busy. It's like they would rather go out. Like I've played catch with my dad for hours.
Yeah.
In a day.
Like they'd rather kind of do other things.
He'd rather play baseball. He'd rather play football. He'd rather kick a soccer ball around than sit inside and play video games with us, which is fair. I mean, it was nice. It was far better, like jumping on the trampoline with my dad or playing football with him or anything like that than it would be just like, oh, we sat next to each other and we played like Madden 2001 forever. Yeah.
Dude, one of my dad is what now, like in his mid 40s, and one of what he does, he's really young actually.
How old were your parents when you were born?
My mom was 19 and my dad was 20.
Okay, wow.
And my mom was somehow put herself through college with me, and then also my sister a year and a half after that. So anyways, props to mom.
I was 32 when I was born and my dad was 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, so dude, it's a little bit of my parents are in like their early 50s.
I have an odd living. Not odd, but like it's slightly different.
Yeah,
it's
slightly different.
It's outside the cut.
Well, because 60 years ago that was normal.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
Yeah. Like there's a little bit of a culture shift going on.
Yeah. And then like Carly's parents, my wife's parents. My wife's adopted and so is her brother. But her parents are in their mid 60s.
Yeah.
So it's like it's even more of a shift because I'm like I don't think my parents are old, but it's like, when my friends' parents are in like their late 40s, it's like, they're not older.
That's
it's
not
just
too
like
bad.
most people in our generation, their parents had them when they were like late 20s, mid 20s, not 19, but not 30.
Yeah. It's kind of in the middle there.
It's whatever, and it's like that's more to do with like personal family stuff that happened for them to wait to have kids.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so I was gonna say,
sorry.
One of the things that my dad does when he comes home, basically every day, is he just plays on the PlayStation. Oh yeah, that's how he unwinds from his day and his work. Yeah. And so like my dad loves video games, and it's something that's a part of his routine and his like self-care.
Yeah.
And anyway, so
that's cool that your mom lets him do that.
Yeah, she just kind of sits beside him and like knits, or they talk, or my mom reads, or
that's fun though.
They'll like watch shows together too as well. Yeah. So they're really like they've kind of settled into their rhythm, and they're really cute.
Yeah.
Which is probably but what I would do with my dad when I was really young is play video games sometimes. And so one of my favorites was he loved arcade games as a kid. Mm-hmm. And so he'd buy those mashup remasters of them.
Like the 6-in-1 remaster.
Yeah, exactly. Of like Catscom and et cetera, et cetera. And so I'd love to play. You're talking about Ace Ventura, or crap, what is that?
Ace Combat?
Ace Combat?
Yeah. Ace Ventura Flight.
Ace Ventura Flight guy.
Flight of the Eagle.
As we blow everything up and act like spies. No. But it's like a 2D like flight simulator, like arcade game where you're like in World War II. Oh. You're shooting stuff. You have lives.
I know what game that is. I'm just trying to think.
Like we 2-player that.
But it's like top down looking at just old planes.
Exactly.
Oh shoot.
And then it was like Gattaca, but you're moving forward, and there's a story. Gallica, there we go. Gattaca's a movie, I think.
Yeah.
About
that man is playing Gallica.
Perfect humanity, and like being artificially created or whatever. But
yeah. Anyway,
so, I liked playing that game a lot. I don't know what it's called, but let's play it, Dad.
Yeah, have a good time. Yeah. I don't know. It's like my brother and I both have PlayStation 4s.
Okay. Yeah.
We have never once played online with each other.
Wow. Okay.
But we're also like, we'll go in stints where right now he's working all the time, and so he's super busy.
Yeah. Right.
And so he'll just work these insane days, and then he'll get home, and then he just goes to bed because then he has to go to work.
Yeah,
or
basically.
Like my grandpa passed away a couple weeks ago, and so I haven't been able to because I've been working, and then we're up here in Lake City, and so it's like I can't drive that hour and a half every day to go help after work. To immediately have to turn around. But they're like my grandma's in long-term care because she's got dementia or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they're just like cleaning out the entire house. So he'll like work his 8-hour, 10-hour shift, and then he'll go work on
for however many hours
in
the house and
crap out of the house, and then he'll go to bed and he'll do it again. So it's like, yeah, we just never play. Yeah, we don't even have each other's PlayStation as friends. We don't.
That's hilarious. Well,
it's just like we've never thought about it because it's like we've never really played video games together. Like we played Lego Batman together, Lego Indiana Jones, and like Mario Kart. Everyone's played with their sibling forever, but it's like we've always just done something else. Like let's just go play basketball outside, or actually that one I stopped doing because for a brief minute when we were both in high school, I was like a foot taller than him.
Oh, sure.
And I'm kind of like how a Labrador that's 85 pounds doesn't realize it's 85 pounds and it still thinks it's a 20-pound puppy.
Yeah, you kind of hurt people.
Yeah, you just kind of hurt people. Yeah, I just kind of like threw my brother into the gravel a lot, and I, like accidentally like just turned around and hit him with an elbow, and he just goes down. Like not even like closed elbow, just open arm, hit him with my elbow while my arm is completely out. Because I didn't realize he was right there, and then he's just like, well, I guess we're not playing basketball anymore. And it's like I would never play with him after that because it's like, he's just going to be upset at me because I hurt him accidentally because I didn't know I was going to hurt him.
Dude, I had a really hard time being, and I'm starting to get over it now as I'm around kids and stuff, but I had a really hard time being physical with my family because, one of my parents never were.
Yeah.
And also because I hit puberty and then started hurting the crap out of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like I don't want to hurt them. And so I just
then you get in trouble for like them wanting to play with you or like trying to tackle you, and then you put them in the ground.
I just always felt bad.
Yeah,
like, I don't want to hurt you.
It's like I want to play basketball with you, but I also want to like I'm an aggressive blocker. I'll be in your face all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm a good blocker, but I'm in your face.
Right.
And so if that turns into me like just like stepping on you, hurting you, knocking you down, I'm sorry. It's just I didn't realize I was going to do that. But now he's 6'7". So it's not like I have to worry about that anymore.
Right. Or we're like setting up for my aunt's wedding, and so we're in the reception venue and moving chairs around, and I'm 12 years old running around with Isaiah. Yeah. And then I end up pushing him, accidentally off the chairs, and he bites through his lip.
Oh.
And so he's bleeding all over the place and crying, and I'm like, what the? Well, I didn't mean to do this.
Do all of your siblings have Old Testament names?
No, just us boys.
Okay.
Alyssa and Cassidy are not Old Testament names.
They're not at all.
No.
Because my brother and I both have biblical names, but mine is New Testament, his is Old Testament.
What's your brother's name?
My brother's name is David.
David.
Yeah.
Big D.
Big D. Yeah, Big D. Nice.
See you.
Yeah. So this weekend, if you're wondering why I was down in Jordan, Minnesota, it's because I was passing through. The third cousin got married on Saturday.
Very nice.
That's 3 out of the 6 on my mom's side of the family in one summer.
Almost a full set.
It was me.
We're halfway there.
And then one of my cousins got married like a month and a half after we did. And then the other one just got married.
A few days ago.
Yeah, just got married like 2 days ago. And the two that got married are both sisters.
Oh, sweet.
So.
You didn't stop at the Holiday gas station in Jordan, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because what I discovered was, and I travel through Jordan quite often.
Well, if you had to head down to, what state?
If I'm heading down to Iowa.
Yeah.
And / where I live /
So how did you end up in UMD if you went to Iowa? If you're from Iowa?
Well, that's
a drive.
That's a long story, and we'll talk about it a different day, maybe.
It's like 7 hours.
But what they do at that Holiday gas station is sometimes if you hit the right person on their shift, and I don't know if she works there anymore because I haven't had it very recently, but
yeah.
What she would do is, it's like mid-afternoon, and I just only get a coffee, and she's like, it's okay. You don't have to pay for it.
Walk away with it.
And I just walk out with it, and it's like, sweet. I appreciate you.
I had that at the, for my work, we didn't used to have a fuel pump on site.
Sure, yeah.
And so part of my job at the time was filling up cars and making sure they're lot ready. Like if it's a new car, it's got to have gas in it.
Yeah.
If it's a used car, it has to have some gas in it, And so I drive up to the Holiday because that's where we had an account.
Okay.
And I knew everyone in there who worked there knew me by name and like just knew me.
Sweet.
And I knew everyone that worked there because I would go there like 3 or 4 times a day and, fill up the gas tanks. And so I'd just be hanging out there for a bit.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you get lunch there or whatever. It's like, I'm just going to get, like a $3 sandwich. I'm just going to get the sandwich. And
it's so easy.
And so, like, it's easy because I was there all the time. And now I'm not there all the time. And I'm glad because my bank account isn't suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I didn't get a sandwich every time, but I definitely got one more than once. So it's the trade-off for that. But it's like I went in there and they'd always charge me like the cheap sandwich prices for like the sandwich that I got.
Very cool.
Or
that's
like,
cool.
If I got a fountain drink, they'd charge me the refill price instead of like the $1.89 or whatever. They charge me like the 35-cent refill.
Sweet.
Or sometimes they just go, "Oh, it's on the house. Go ahead."
Nice.
So
very nice.
Like that was nice, but as I was friendly with them every day without expecting anything in return. It's just like I was just there hanging out with them. It's like, "Hey, Colin, how you doing today?" It's like, "Oh, I'm holding in there. It's kind of rough today. A pump broke." It's like, "Oh yeah, it's a bummer."
Mm-hmm.
Have you fixed the leak in number 4 yet? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not. Frick. I'm trying to think of what holiday it is, but that would also might.
It's the one by the Menards.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yep.
I spend a lot of time at the one closer to the campus.
Yep. The one by.
It's also a little awkwardly placed as well.
It is in a weird spot, but they do. Did you know they have a student discount there?
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
For what?
For gas. It's like 7 cents a gallon.
Frick! I'm only buying gas there for the rest of my life.
Right? It's like,
even though I'm not a student.
Yeah. No. It's like I didn't know that, and then I was like, "Do you guys?" Because my mom was like, "Sometimes gas stations have student discounts." And so I checked with a bunch of them around here, and then I went to that one randomly one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Do you guys have a student discount?" It's like, "Yeah." And then I like, "I think so. I think we have a card for that because it's right next to campus."
Sweet,
not really right next to, but it's like 3 blocks away.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I would call it right next to campus.
It's like right next to campus.
It's right off of there's a road.
Well, it's where the Tiny Domino's is.
Yep.
And it's where that weird mall is.
Yep. So there's this road that I won't say the name of that runs like not.
It's a diagonal.
Not the big road, but like the one that runs right by the campus.
Oh yeah. It's like right off of like the side road where all the apartment houses things are.
Yep. And so I was one of my classes for school had a project where we had to go out and I was going to be a civil engineer, and so we had to survey this road.
You mean the worst road ever made?
The worst road. It was the worst road ever made. It needed so much work, and I think they've done some this year, which is great.
Have you seen those alleys though? Because I had a job where I had to drive down those alleys to go pick up like customers or whatever.
It depends what alley you're talking about.
It's the one behind the vape shop.
No, I've never looked on those. Are they bad?
It's still drive down it now. It's still awful. And the one that's like a block up, the alley that's a block up from
that's terrible.
It's equally bad. It's like if you don't have 4-wheel drive, you cannot go down this road.
Sure. Yeah.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
It's like 6-inch deep potholes.
That's kind
which
of
is
really
insane.
Rough. That's super rough.
That's so deep.
And so that's kind of the road climate that exists in this town. Mm-hmm. And we have
no money for roads. Apparently we have money to completely redo a government building's air conditioning after they did it 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And to also redo the roads downtown over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah, every year.
And for some reason we think it's okay to do concrete roads and then to pour asphalt right over top. Who gives a crap about like the gutter or anything like that? We'll just throw asphalt on top.
Or about
how about terrible.
How about concrete is just a better surface to drive on anyway than asphalt.
It's true.
You're already pouring the concrete.
Places don't have infrastructure sometimes. But they have it anyways.
But they have money, and they throw it at like random crap. Anyway, the government sucks here, and it's bad.
Yeah, it's an interesting place to live. That's for sure.
Well, because your taxes are insane, and then you never see them used for where you live. You only see them used for the tourist area.
Yeah.
Which it's like, I get it. The tourist area makes money, but also most of the tourist area is privately owned by one corporation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is not ideal.
Which is like, whatever. We get it. They owned the property 50 years ago when, like, the tourist area where we go for that good pizza.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like, was a total dump like 30 years ago.
Sure.
It was like there's nothing there. It was just a garbage heap. And so that one corporation bought up like 3/4 of all the land there.
There you go.
And they completely remade it. Like that hotel that's down there, like the Twin Ports or whatever that was, the Twin.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Awful. That was awful. It was straight garbage. It's like 130 years old. And it was falling apart. And they just were like, oh, time to redo it. And then brought everyone in there.
It's fantastic.
And they convinced the news to build a news outlet down there. And it's insane. Anyway.
Yeah.
They lobbied for a bunch of crap. And now that's the nicest part to go driving.
Because it makes money.
Because it makes a pile of money.
I mean, we also make the city money too.
Yeah, we also make the city money too. You could at least give us usable roads. Or maybe, don't dig the snow out of that part of the town first. The part of the town where nobody lives? Maybe,
let's
maybe
do that
dig
one.
it out in the densest lived in area, the densest population area, which is surrounding the campuses. Maybe dig those out first instead of downtown. But if you don't shovel out downtown, no one can get to work. Well, nobody who works downtown lives in downtown. Downtown's way too expensive. You have to have
That's true.
piles of cash to have an apartment that's 8 stories up downtown. To have a lake view here, you have to have $1 million.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
There's a new development going up somewhere that I was talking with my roommate about.
Yeah.
But it's income controlled housing.
Is it really?
Yeah, or it's income.
So you have to be lower income.
Yeah, there's an income cap for the. You can't live there.
I wonder if we hit that because we probably do.
Do you make? Well, I don't know how incriminating this is. Do you make less than $30,000 a year?
No.
Then you can't live there.
No, not after I got some raises.
Sweet.
I got. This is a good one.
I could live there.
You could live there, but you also fundraise.
That's true.
Yeah, so you don't have a salary. I don't have a salary either. I'm hourly, which is whatever. It's nice, but it's nice because I can get overtime.
Sweet. Yeah, that's good.
But last Friday, my boss was just like, "Hey, take a look at this sheet of paper, will you?" And it's a raise, and he's just really weird about it.
And then you were like, "Sweet, thanks for the raise."
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, thanks." He's like, "Is it look good to you?" I was like, "It looks good to me." He's like, "All right, then give it a sign and pass it over to me."
It's some under the table deal. It's
yeah,
we're living in 1920s New York.
Your income. I'm not going to say how much I make. I don't make a pile of money. I since I started working there, I've gotten a 7.9% rate, which is good.
Yeah, that's
out
really
of the
good.
2 raises I got a 7.9% increase in pay since I started working there a year ago, coming up on a year ago, because I started there in September.
Yeah, because you moved back up last September.
I moved back up end of...
Dude, it's almost a year.
Yeah, almost a year of me being back. Wow, I got married and got my own place in that time.
A lot happened for you.
A lot happened for me in that time. Anyway, which is that's a pretty good increase in pay.
For a year?
For a year. No one's going to hit 8% in a year unless you're a salaried employee that has a pay structure that goes up like that. I had a friend who he no longer works there. His dream is to open up a food truck, which if anyone should open up a food truck, it's this guy. His cooking is fantastic.
Very
and he
cool.
can do it very quickly. But he wants to do today's dish is whatever, and then tomorrow's dish is this, and he wants to change up the menu every day, which is really cool. And I like the idea. Sorry, I got some crap in my eye. I'm scratching.
That's okay. For those of you who can't see what's happening, Paul is scratching the crap out of his eye.
I don't know what's going on with it. Anyway, so the company he worked for, you have to have a degree in something because it's an engineering plant, is what it is. But it's got 9 buildings across 3 or 4 campuses in this one city.
Okay, sure.
She's the development campus, the testing campus, the manufacturing campus, and the sales campus.
Okay, yeah.
And so, but it's corporate sales. So you're only selling to giant companies or things they make HVAC.
Already sold.
Yeah, they make HVAC systems for skyscrapers. or like giant factories or giant, like these huge warehouses. They make the HVAC systems for those things.
Nice.
And so my friend was a systems tester, and so he went to school for computer science and was like a program tester or like a developer or something like that. And so he was working on the test programs for their systems.
Like what runs and operates the HVAC basically?
No, he was doing he was basically developing like diagnostics tools.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So like run a test program, see what happens if something's broken. But like you started out at like a pretty decent, like, Midwest starting like really good Midwest starting salary.
Sure. Like 45, 50,
like
something
60.
Like that. That's pretty good.
It's like starting for the Midwest. That's really nice.
Yeah.
For a starting salary.
Oh yeah.
It's like fantastic, especially in a city of 50,000.
Yep.
That's really nice. But like after 5 years, you can get like 120.
That's insane.
And it's a steady increase, and it's based on time there, not what you've done.
That's really insane.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh.
You know what company I'm talking about now?
It's not in town, is it?
It's not. It's in La Crosse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I know I was talking with a friend who he was saying that like someone had basically started a company and he'd been with it since it was started. And they pay him exceptionally well, like way more than
maybe you should be, but if you're there in the beginning, you can kind of get a nice pay.
Yeah, that, and they want to pay their employees well too. Like it's not like it's like we care about you as a person as opposed to like you're just someone who makes numbers cog for us, right? Yeah.
Well, I was talking with that friend I had, and he said, and he was talking to one of his bosses or like one of the upper ups, just kind of talking with him, and he asked him, he's like, you guys have thousands of employees. Like, what does that cost you guys? Because they're like all those salaries and stuff like that. And they're like, well, we averaged it out one time because the accounting department wanted to see what it was. And before pay, each employee costs $100 an hour.
Huh.
That's air conditioning, water, heat, parking lot maintenance, building maintenance, computer equipment, all office supplies, printer supplies, printing, like ink, all that stuff. They averaged it out for like a year, and they did it, and it's $100 an employee.
That's pretty nuts.
Well, when they have $1 million CNC machines that two people operate, that kind of brings up your average.
Yeah.
Whereas like my company, I bet the like cost of employees is like maybe $35 an hour.
Yeah, because you have overhead for your building.
You have overhead for your buildings. You have your internet. You have your office supplies. And I go through a butt ton of office supplies. Yeah. Like I go through ink and paper like no one's business.
Sure.
And I don't even print the most. Like,
well, who prints more?
Probably.
It'd probably be your boss, maybe. Yeah.
No, not my boss. My boss doesn't ever print anything. He has a printer when he uses it sometimes. It's the guy that's like lateral to me.
Okay.
In the other department. So he's basically a glorified service writer. A service writer is like when you bring your car into a repair shop, they give you the estimate on what it's going to cost.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have direct interaction with the mechanic. You talk to this guy or girl or whatever up in the front with the computer. You talk to that person.
Yep.
And so he's a service writer, but he does it for internal vehicles. So internal vehicles are vehicles we took in on trade.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Or like vehicles that the dealership owns.
Yeah. So you bought a vehicle.
So we at the dealership bought a vehicle. It gets processed mechanically by him. So it goes through him.
Yep.
Goes through his techs. He justifies the price of it. Gets everything approved. Things go on. Then it gets passed to my department, my boss's department, and
then you try to sell it.
I don't try to sell it, but I make it ready for it to sell.
Okay.
I am the funnel which all things flow through. I am the final check before a car hits the lot.
You're Funnel Paul.
I'm Funnel Paul. Every vehicle that goes through a lot, unless it's sold before it gets cleaned up or has anything maintained on it.
Yeah.
Unless it's sold like right away, which happens a lot.
Interesting. Okay.
I touch it. So every vehicle that's on the lot at my dealership that I work at, I have personally driven, looked at, made the window stickers for.
Sweet.
I've done all that.
That's cool.
Yeah. By the way, I go through about, You know those big, giant, round Sharpies?
Yep.
The big ones?
Yeah.
I go through about 5 of those a year.
Nice.
Yeah. The big ones, like the thick ones.
Nice.
Yeah.
I literally, they look monstrous. I hate them so much.
I have to use them because you have to make the writing big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that there's a font that you're supposed to use for selling cars for the numbers? There's a specific font that I had to learn, and I forgot the name of it. But it's the way you do the letters. It makes it visible from like a way across. And it doesn't matter how big they are. It just makes them very visible.
Okay.
And so there's a specific font that I had to learn before I started doing this.
Strange.
Yeah, it's really like you would not think about it.
So it like increases the visibility of the numbers.
Yeah, it increases the contrast and visibility of it without making it. Because some people do like, write a 6, and they're just like, and it looks like a weird B that's got
that's me.
Like it got a flat butt.
Yeah. I do the flat
and then
butt
you got to
6.
do like for what I do, you have to do it like kind of at an angle, so it's leaning back a little bit.
Yeah.
Starts off with a nice crest on the top, loops into this nice little perfect circle at the bottom. Yeah, I had to learn how to do that.
Bellissimo.
And you better not do your 7s with a line through them. That's unacceptable. Like the 7, and then it has the line in the middle.
Why would you ever do that?
I don't know why anyone would ever do that, but it sucks. Don't do that. It looks bad.
That's right. You've heard it here. Don't do the 7s like that.
That's not even like the dealership font thing. That's not like a car font. The 7 just looks bad when you do that.
And you're bad if you... No, never mind.
And you're actually... You know what? I'm going to say it.
No, don't go there.
You're straight up trash if you draw your 7
don't
with the
insult
line.
the people
garbage.
who listen to our
I
podcast.
actually hate you if you do that.
You should just change your whole way of life.
Yeah, you need to, actually. You need to repent. Anyway.
There we go.
Yeah. I feel like we haven't done a lot of comedy on this episode.
That's true. We've been pretty straight fire.
Oh, you want to hear a good one?
All right, give me a bit.
Not a good bit. It's a good story, though.
Okay, sure.
Wedding this weekend at a vineyard.
Right. At a vineyard. Not the church, right?
Not the church.
Okay.
Just at a wine vineyard and at a winery.
Yes.
Where they have a lot of wine.
Lots of wine. Because that's what they do is they make wine. So there's a lot of wine.
I'm older than the drinking age by a lot. Not a lot, but enough where it doesn't matter anymore. Where it's not important to me. But some of my cousins aren't. By some, I mean one of my cousins is not.
Yeah, of course.
And also my brother is not. But this cousin that's not above the drinking age who flew out from Colorado the day before.
Okay.
Got so drunk. She had a bottle of wine before dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, and so like 5 glasses of wine, and she's doing okay. Then she hit 8 glasses of wine.
Yeah, that's a bit too far. I mean,
it's like...
That's really far.
At this point, she's like flopping across the dance floor and just making a massive fool out of herself, and her parents are just like, whatever. Like, they're a little tipsy. They're at a wedding. At least it's their cousin's wedding and not like some stranger that we have to know or anything like that. And at least we're in a different...
like her wedding,
Yeah, or like at least we're like 25 hours away from where we live, Yeah. And then she kept drinking all night, and it got to the point where... And she's not a big person. She's maybe like 5.
She had to have thrown up, right?
So we're getting there.
Okay,
so she's like 5'8", maybe 5'9".
Yep,
something like that. So she's tall, but she's weighs nothing.
Yep.
It took 2 of us to kind of support her because of how much she's purposely flopping around.
So she's doing this on purpose.
She's like, she's drunk, so she's doing this on purpose.
That's right. And there were air quotes there.
Yeah.
If you didn't catch that.
She's flopping around. She's rolling all over the place. My little brother, my not so little brother.
Yep, of course.
Had to carry her out of the tent, out of the venue.
Yep.
And she's this little spider monkey, so she's rolling around and like escaping his grip. No. And eventually it's like she's just on the floor, like sitting there, not crying or anything, just like partying by herself on the floor.
Okay.
Just in her dress on the floor. And it's like, it's whatever. And so my brother...
Yeah. Just what you do.
Yeah. My brother was staying in the same hotel as they were.
Yep.
As those 2 cousins and like my aunt and uncle who came.
Yep.
And so he drove them home. And on the way home, she gave my brother's pilot a nice racing stripe leading from the rear window to the back corner of the car because she just kept throwing up as they were going down the road. She just would throw up outside. At least she threw up outside of the car.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But like he pulled up to breakfast the next day. Just there's still barf on the side of the car.
Just on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty rough.
And so she's throwing up. This is a second hand. This part is now second hand.
Okay.
But she's throwing up outside the car. And they're driving through downtown or wherever they are, where we were.
Very tasteful sight. See,
very tasteful. And there's just guys on the side of the street just cheering, cheering her on because she out-partied all of them, and now she's the drunk girl being carted home.
It's just vomiting everything.
Just vomiting
everywhere.
like every 5 minutes, and it's just a total mess. And this story is not to embarrass her. It was just really funny. And there was more than just her that were like completely gone.
Yeah.
Like there was an aunt that was just by the time the wedding started, she was slurring.
Yeah.
Which the wedding, I thought that my wife and my wedding was pretty short. Our wedding was like maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You know, there was a scripture.
That's not bad
there was
at
a
all.
Scripture reading. That we didn't do any unity, things like that.
Yeah.
And there was just like a little bit of reading involved, and it was really short, nice and sweet. It was good. If Elliot was here, he could tell you because he was the only other guy that was there.
Yeah, it was not.
I'm sorry.
You're okay.
There was like a hard cutoff for how many people we wanted to have there and how many people can fit on my parents' back porch. So it's like, and I had 3 wedding crashers. So it's like he was already at the point where like with those wedding crashers, it's like, this is getting kind of cramped.
Well.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
But anyway, ceremony, 7 minutes.
Nice.
Short and sweet. It was, they had like 3 people each walk up first. And then like they did the thing. And both of their parents are divorced.
Okay.
So like my aunt and uncle got divorced and remarried.
Yep.
Each of them. And then his parents, I think, were divorced, and then one of them remarried.
Okay.
That's why I'm pretty certain because I don't know. Otherwise, I have no idea why there would be 3 people standing up next to him.
Yeah. Right.
But so, like, neither my cousin's father nor stepfather walked her in.
Okay.
Which is like, it's kind of fair because they raised you half and half. Who do you pick?
Yeah.
And you don't want to leave
can't
someone.
Really.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to have both of them walk you down.
That'd be a little strange.
It's like it worked out. I think it worked out. It was a good compromise. My grandma might have words about it, but it worked out.
That's okay.
But it was so short, and the food we had was catered, pizza and wings.
Dude, that's literally okay. I think that's the play.
It was just buffalo wings.
I'm so charmed.
And pizza.
Like I went to a wedding. Did you go to Tony and Grace's wedding?
I did not. I was not invited to that. I'm not as close with Tony as people think we are.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. But they had pizza at their wedding, and it's like, why has no one thought of this before?
It's
like,
dirt cheap.
Is this like the our generation? Like, oh, let's just have pizza, and then you cater good pizza. It's cheap.
It's cheap,
and like everybody likes
food.
pizza.
Everyone loves pizza.
Like you put a salad with it, like you're of course gonna have a salad.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
I'll have my 2 leaves of lettuce drowned in ranch.
I mean, I'm a large fan of 2 leaves of lettuce drowned in ranch.
Yeah,
like
no, it's just
I kind of want to do pizza
is the way
now.
to go. Unless your wedding is small enough, like my wife and my wedding was, where it was like no people, nobody there, prime rib.
Okay, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but that's also like,
or you like make the millions, then
or you make the millions. But also like the people that make the millions do not have big weddings. Like the billionaires, and like the upper millionaires, they're very private. If you didn't know that, in fact, like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, not the richest people in the world because they're the richest people on the Forbes list.
Sure,
the richest people in the world afford to not be on the Forbes list.
Sure. So they pay Forbes to not be on the Forbes
Well, it's
list.
like they know how to hide their money well enough where like you're not going to find them. So it's like, like what's the family that caused the opioid epidemic?
I don't know what you're talking about. Like in China and
no, here in the US.
It's a family that caused the opioid.
Hold on.
I want to look this up too.
Google,
would you come sing to
which
me?
Which family caused the opioid epidemic? I just had a terrible voice crack. Sorry about that. Anyway, Google. This is a research show, 100% researched. Told you guys. It's the Sackler family from Purdue Pharmaceuticals.
But what does that mean? Like,
the opioid epidemic was like when the Sacklers funded doctors to prescribe opioids instead of like other pain relief medicines.
Because they wanted people
because they owned the pain relief medicines, and
opioids
are really addicting. So like, what was it? It's Percocet? No, what is it? Not Percocet.
That might be. I recognize the name of that drug. It's almost like, so if you read one of the greatest books of all time, The Godfather.
Yeah. By the way, book is really good. Movie's also okay.
I have heard that the second Godfather movie is one of the best rated of all time, which is interesting. But
no one ever watches the second one though.
But apparently it has all the things. Anyway, we can talk about The Godfather a different day.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say that one of the things that the Corleone family does is they just say, hey, everybody in our protection, you're gonna buy our olive oil.
Yeah.
It's really great olive oil, if you can hear the sarcasm in
my
voice.
It's the best olive oil.
And like, if you don't buy it, then we're gonna make you an offer you can't refuse, which is you'll buy it or we'll kill you.
Yeah.
That's what an offer you can't refuse means, is that you'll die if you don't accept it.
You'll end up with a horse head in your bed.
That's right.
That's the best threat I've ever seen.
It is
an entire horse
head.
The horse
that the man loves.
Yeah. The one that what did he spend? What was the number they threw out there? It was like $500,000 on like a personalized stable.
In the 1950s? Is that when the movie
takes place? It was
the
end of World War II, so 1940s, like late 1940s.
Yeah. $50,000 in the 1940s.
Yeah.
So like $200,000 now.
Yeah.
Like something
just
ridiculous.
An insane amount of money that he spent on this horse and a stable for it. And they just chopped its head off and put it in his bed.
And the whole scene before is like he talks about his horse.
It's him talking about his horse. And then it cuts to him like petting his horse and like just sitting on a fence just looking at this beautiful creature. And then the next scene is like him waking up in bed with just the severed head of his horse at the foot of his bed in his covers. Which also, I want to know what sleeping medication that guy takes to sleep through someone sticking a horse head in the bottom of his bed. Because it's not like it was on top of the covers. It was under the covers of his bed.
Well, who knows? And maybe he got super drugged, too.
Maybe he got super drugged. With Oxycontin. That's right. That's the drug that the Sacklers made.
Also, Sacklers, you can pay us lots of money, and we'll promote Oxycontin.
Oxycontin. Yeah,
that's right.
It's a weird N in the middle of it.
That will be our drug recommendation of choice.
Our drug recommendation for today. If we get the check. If we don't get the check by midnight tonight when I release this episode.
That's all of this is just going to be boo. Or it's going to be like, please, like we love, and then like, is there like an opposition brand or like Advil? I mean,
technically. We love everything Pfizer came up with instead of Purdue.
There we go.
Yeah. Or I don't know. We already talked about like all the different brands of whatever, like SC Johnson, and what was the one that owns like paper towels? Shoot. P&G, Procter & Gamble.
Yeah, Procter & Gamble.
Procter & Gamble.
Not Bounty.
Bounty
is owned by Procter.
Yeah, Bounty is owned by Procter & Gamble.
That's right.
I think Kleenex is also owned by Procter & Gamble.
And like
a lot of things are owned by
our
P&G.
souls. That's not true. Never mind. We're not going there.
Well, we'll go there. Yeah. Remember when like Monopoly Busters was a thing, and they would just go through and tell companies, "Nope, you're too big," and that's why we had like 35 different oil companies, and now we have 6.
I mean,
maybe it's
those were the days.
I'm not a fan of restricted capitalism, but
as a consumer in
the capitalist world we're in, maybe it's time for some restrictions on capitalism. Maybe it's time to like shoot Amazon into 35 pieces. Maybe they're not allowed to own a streaming service, a data storing service, a package delivery service.
Yeah,
And
it's the
a music service.
The stability of having investments not in one place but in every place.
Yeah,
is definitely
it definitely pays off for every company.
That's for sure.
But it's time to split up them being one company.
I don't know if it will ever come to that though. They just have enough money to lobby any government.
Yeah, they have enough money to just give to people for them to vote however they want. And it's like, if you wonder how politicians get rich, they're not rich. Well, here's a fun thing. If you're in the United States Congress, not even as a senator, because there's senators, there's only 100 of them.
Yeah.
As a representative, there's 500 of them?
Yeah, 530 something.
Yeah. You know what you make as a representative in the federal government?
How much?
Year.
Oh, I'm going to guess. I want to guess.
Yeah, give me a guess.
It's not 120,000, is it?
No, it's more.
Oh, okay.
It's more.
But it has to be less than the president. So we have a good range right now.
Yeah, how much do you
think
it
is it? 200,000?
No, it's a little bit less.
Okay.
It's like $170,000 a year.
But that's not bad. That's a really good salary.
That's the problem. Is it's a really good salary to do nothing.
I would argue that they don't do nothing.
I would argue that they could do more.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, I would argue that they could do way more. Instead of the 3 things they do a year, they could maybe do 12.
Welcome to the political episode.
This is the politics episode. We talked about video games, and now it's politics time. But that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
But you don't become a millionaire off $170,000 a year.
You don't.
You become a millionaire by Procter and Gamble, and pharmaceutical companies and oil companies formerly ExxonMobil, but that one was a scam.
Got him.
All of them giving you money to say that their products aren't bad and that they don't harm the environment in any such way. And sometimes companies do make a conscious effort to not harm the economy or the ecosystem, but most of the time they harm both.
Yeah, there's not a lot of when you look at hard regulation for companies, there's not a lot of buy-in to saying, "Oh, hey, you need to do something."
Yeah, exactly. When the fine for Verizon just cutting off coverage to an area is that they said that they promised they would cover is less than the amount it would take to actually cover the area, so they'd rather just pay the fine. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Where the Verizon will get hit with because Verizon just does crap all the time. Yeah. It's not just Verizon. It's all of the cellular companies. It's even the small ones. Even the small ones are terrible. And we already ranted about internet in the first or second episode of this show.
That's right. Call back to internet.
Thank you, Spectrum.
Thank you, Spectrum. You suck.
You're actually trash.
You should stop sending me mail.
Yeah, I got mail today from Spectrum.
Did it? Was it the package?
Yeah, it's I already pay for Spectrum. Why are you sending me things to pay for Spectrum?
So you want me to spend another $45 a month, and you think that's a deal?
That's not a deal.
It's not a deal.
Not a deal.
You said
internet was $35 a month for twice the speed that I have. It was on your website. I emailed the link to representatives.
Yep.
And this isn't our website. It's Spectrum, us.spectrum.com/whatever, whatever county we're in.
Yeah, that's a website.
Yeah, that sounds like a website for us right here. Yeah.
That's a website.
Mm-hmm. That says it's $35 a month for twice the speed we have now. It's $50 a month now for half the speed you advertised, if we get speed at all. If the internet just isn't out for hours at a time for no reason.
Yep. It's that's a rough part of living.
Yeah. But yeah, so all these cellular companies that are well, just give us the fine. We're not going to change anything, but you can just give us the fine. It immediately shows up in your bill. Because Verizon, at least I know Verizon does this. They have fees, quotation fees, that they tack onto your bill depending. And so you can tell when Verizon gets hit with a massive fine because they just triple the fees part. And then they just pass off all of the expense to the customer, and they don't pay anything out of what they already have.
Yeah, that's not right.
And that's why like finding companies like that isn't a problem for them, because they'll just make the customer pay for it on top of paying for what they already pay for. They'll just make the customer pay for the.
Yeah, they should just force them to go into the area.
Yeah,
like if you say you're going to do something.
If you promise cellular in this area within 10 years and it's 12 years later, time to put the hammer down. It's like, clearly fines aren't going to do anything. Jail time is the way to go.
Oh gosh!
But I mean, not even that.
Like,
it's like
who would you imprison in a faceless corporation?
Because it's like at that point, just threaten to break up the corporation.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but it's like you're not going to do that because you've been lobbied, but also like you've been lobbied into thinking that these fines are fair. Yeah, and they're not, because they're already not being paid for.
Well, they are being paid, and that's the part.
Well, they're not being paid for.
Like that's the part that the government cares about
is that they get their money
because they're getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone knows we need to give them more money always.
Yes.
Anyway, that's our rant. It wasn't as funny as it normally is.
Welcome to our rant.
We're missing the star of our show, Elliot. If you wish to audition for the role of Elliot, DM us on Twitter, on Instagram. If you can find my LinkedIn page, I would love to get all 5,000 of your emails.
That's right. You can also, so if you're auditioning for Elliot, you need to do 3 things. 1, send us your favorite emoji. 2, send us a soundbite of yourself saying, I don't know, just something.
Say something about June 2nd.
That's right. Something about June 2nd, because you need to know what happened June 2nd.
You need to know what happened June 2nd.
And the third thing I was kind of thinking of is a little bit of like an impromptu, like a bitty kind of like comedy, haha. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of like...
And considering how little impromptu comedy, haha, we've done today, we're definitely selling our part as comedians.
That's right.
We're professional comedians because we get paid for it.
Exactly.
It's time. We should be funny now.
It should be funny now.
Actually, Elliot has just been a character done by Levi the entire time. It's really funny.
Don't tell them that.
Well, we decided not to do it today, so might as well let it go. Elliot has been a character.
Do you know how hard it is?
It is really hard. I have to go. Well, how hard do you think it is for me to edit that? Because you
to splice the audio.
Because you have to like we pre-record all of Elliot's lines before the show, and then we actually layer the audio on top of it, so we can listen to Elliot quotation marks talking through our talkback system in the other room. And we come up with our replies on the spot to Elliot while we're listening to the talkback. And so, depending on how long the episode is, that's like an hour and a half of pre-recording content.
We're supposed to make them think that this is like an on-the-fly like, they're not supposed to know this is scripted.
Every episode is scripted. It takes weeks of work, actually. Actually, every episode has to be approved 2 weeks out, 2 weeks ahead of time.
Do we have to tell them about a writer now, too?
3 writers, you mean? We have a writer per character, even though Elliot is just a character.
Well, I mean, I'm a character.
We're both. Everyone.
Do we tell them my name?
Yeah, we're not going to tell them our real names. That's insane. Why would we tell them our real names or what we actually do?
Well, but like, we've already let it out.
No.
I mean, come on, Fabrizio. It's like you can just.
Hey. I ran out of script 3 minutes ago. I don't know how to respond to this.
Well, and with that,
I'll at least have the dignity to not throw back your name. But
all right, Fabrizio.
Hey, stop it! Stop! No. Yeah. Anyway, lies. There was no wedding last weekend. I didn't actually go to a candy store. All scripted.
That's right, and we don't live in an unnamed lake city.
We actually live in the Mojave Desert.
That's what we're going with?
Well, that's where we live.
You don't want to say we live in Venezuela?
Well, no, because do you think we'd be allowed to broadcast from there right now?
Do you think we'd not be allowed to?
I guarantee you we would not be allowed to broadcast from there. So, coming straight at you from the Mojave Desert.
That's right, from Venezuela.
Stop. Again, if you Levi's just getting sick of playing Elliot.
That's right.
And we're kind of done with all that kind of stuff. We do have writers on staff that are willing to write the part of Elliot still. The one was sick 2 weeks ago, and that's why Elliot's not in this one.
Yeah.
The only non-character on the show has been Bruno.
That's true.
Who did audition for the part of Elliot.
It's kind of, honestly, like retrospectively, it's kind of hard to play Levi, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you're just here acting like you're a real person when you're not.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's amazing how you keep up that ridiculous voice the entire time.
Okay, don't come at my voice.
Okay, you're the one that picked it. It's nuts. It's able to be like the high stuff can be picked up, but like your mids are like never get picked up ever.
I don't know what to tell you.
I could just adjust them, but I don't feel like it because why would I adjust them when they're already perfectly set for Elliot?
You fools.
All right. Well, this has been.
That's right. That's Fabricio.
This has been the
Enrique.
8th episode of Lake City Variety. This one is going to be called Video Games and Video Games and You. I don't know. Something like, I don't know. It's going to be not that. That's
we'll see what we talk about. We'll see what we name it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting though. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.